Hi and welcome to the Gemhawks YouTube channel. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. For the free wire tutorial today here on YouTube, we're going to make some double wave earrings. I've made some really elongated drop versions that I'm wearing right now because I love a big dangly earring, but the movement in them is really eye-catching. So we're going to make a slightly more diminutive version together, but you can absolutely extend that down as long as you'd like to. So let's head down to the board and we'll learn how to make these together. So this is the dangly drop earring we're going to make together today. One of the bars is beaded, one is not, and they have this really delightful hammered wave pattern to them. So let me just pop that up there. In terms of materials, you'll need a pair of ear wires and 2 jump rings. I've used 7 beads on each, so 14 in total. I'm working with 2mm round beads, which are garnet. You're also going to need some 1mm gauge wire. Now I have pre-cut and flush cut the ends of these. They are 1mm gauge and each measures 3 inches. So a little over 12 inches in total is all it takes to create this size of drop earring. A little bit more if you want the really big, super dangly ones. So the first thing that we're going to do is to just make sure that they are warmed through. If you pop them side by side onto a desk, give you an opportunity to just make sure that they are all the same length. One by one, I'm going to put a matched simple loop at one end, and the way I'm going to do that is just to turn the wire around until I get that full loop, and then I'm going to grip inside that loop and draw the wire away at a straight angle. Now there are as many different ways to make a simple loop on the end of a pin as there are jewellery creatives. So you choose whichever way makes you happy, and then we'll do that 4 times and then we'll meet back in just a second. Once I have all 4 of my little pins looking the same, they've each got a loop at the top, and I've all got the cut side on the same side at this moment. I'm going to allow them to stack up, and then I'm going to put some flat facing pliers. Now my flat pliers are the same distance at the tip of the plier as they are at the box joint, which is really great for when you want to put a bend in your wire that's the same on 4 individual pieces. Now I'm going to continue to work all 4 pieces of wire in this little stack. So the next thing I'm going to use is a round form. You could very easily use a steel straw, or you could use a round mandrel, or you could use a rounded pencil. This one measures 9.5mm, but really whatever kind of wave you want to use is going to be fine. I'm just going to pop a little bit of warmth into that wire to ensure that it's pliable and ready to work, and that all of my angles are indeed the same. So we're going to start by popping a little half circle wave over on one side, so you get this kind of effect. And what you might want to do once you've got that first wave in is just gather those wires together at the top and just enhance that angle slightly. So if that wave is a little bit too big, you can make it smaller just by rotating a little in the opposite direction. And if you need to, you can do that in the other direction as well. Now sometimes they will all jiggle around, but don't worry about it. Just get them back into a nice little neat stack. And then when you're ready, we'll make a curve in the opposite direction. So just holding them together. You can see that there's a small variation in those, but I'm not really worried about tiny variations. The main thing is the frequency of the wave is similar. So I'm just going to hold them like so. With my finger inside that first curve, I'm going to put a little bit more warmth in. And you could, as I said earlier, go for a much longer drop like the ones I'm wearing in the ear. Warming that wire through, I'm going to bring that wave back in the opposite direction. And when you see that from above, you'll see kind of what I'm going for. I want that central line to pass down the middle of that little wavy pattern. So I'm going to do the last wave now, bringing that back towards the opposite direction. And you can just play around with that if you need to. That one I think is a little bit too big, so I'm just going to rotate that round form. Now that looks pretty similar to me. You could draw a line on your board and just make sure that that is all looking good. Something that does tend to happen with minor variations in creating the loop or angles at the top, you quite often end up with 4 ends that are just ever so slightly different. So in order to make this look as similar as possible, I'm going to make sure that they're stacked as neatly as possible down at the bottom, and then I'm going to just trim away any odd bits here. Now I'm going to put my finger over the end to stop the wire from pinging away. Do please be careful if you're going to put your finger anywhere near your cutters. So once you have got those 4 very similar looking little wave forms, what I can see here is that I don't think that angle up at the top is quite strong enough. So what I would do is grab in any of my flat facing pliers and just address that, and then I'll pop them all back on top of one another and make sure that they all sit exactly the same. Keeping everything in 2 dimensions, so everything is nice and flat. You can stack them all up and do that in one go if you prefer. Don't worry overly if you mark your wire slightly, because I'm going to hammer these today. Now, if you do want to go for the extra long variation, I would say probably 6 inches of wire each instead of the 3 inches that I'm demonstrating with, and you can just kind of adjust wire lengths up to create that. Now, I know that I've said don't worry about marking the wire. I'm going to be hammering mine. If you choose to not do that, and you do get some little marks in your wire, then you do also have the option to use pliers that have a nylon jaw just to go a little bit more softly, or to slow down and not rush through like I am slightly today, because I don't want you to get bored watching my tutorials. Let's head back down to the board and we'll move on to the next step. For the next step, I'm going to take each of those 4 little dangly wave sections and I'm going to put a little loop down at the bottom. This enables us to seal away that cut end so it doesn't catch on anything. It also enables us to stop the finer wire from falling off the bottom of the design. So what you would need to do is repeat that 4 times and then take a few moments to make sure that these all stack and look pretty similar. Now, I made a set of 4 earlier on so that when I made these earrings for you, they will all look the same. So do make sure that you're doing all 4 at one time. What I'm going to do is just show you very quickly. Once you have ensured that all 4 pieces are identical, we're going to give them a little light hammer. Now, to begin with, I'm going to make sure that that loop doesn't move. So repeated softer blows are often better for a design like this, where we're just trying to kind of give a little bit more strength. We don't need to worry overly about changing the profile of the wire unless you particularly want that smashed flat look. So when you're finished with the small loop at the bottom end, we can do the loop at the top. What's quite likely to happen here is that that will open up slightly, so you can see you could get your nail through there. So just give that a quick close up. Another way you can do this is to put it down on your block and close it up like so. Once you've got both ends hammered so that they're a little stronger, you can support those end pieces and hammer the wave in the middle. The reason that I start at either end first is because now that's good and solid, but hopefully we will manage to retain that similarity between each 4 of those pieces. Now, because we're working with that 1mm or 18 gauge wire, even post hammering, it's worth just stacking those 4 pieces up together and popping your round form back in, just so that you can check that the frequency of those waves is the same on all 4 pieces. It's absolutely worth it just to get them to look really, really close together. Once I've got all 4 of my wave forms hammered and as similar as possible, we're going to start adding in some beads. Now, the additional wire I'm using is 0.4mm or 26 gauge, and I have an 8-inch length, of which you will need 2. What I'm going to try and do is make an equal and opposite symmetrical design to the one I've already created. So I'm going to start with the first wave at the top bulging out to the right. What I want to do is to set my bead inside that wave. So I need to allow that wire to pass underneath that frame, and I'm allowing around about an inch of wire, and I will want to wrap this 7 times up at the top of that design. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. And hopefully we shall get 1 more wrap around. I'm not going to squish this down until I'm happy with that position. Get that tail tucked over the top, and then just make sure that your wrapping is neat and tidy. If anything goes slightly astray, you can either try to fix that or you can start with a fresh piece of wire. That was a rescue. So tighten that coil up and give it a squish to hold it in position. So I'm just going to tilt this round slightly and bring in my first bead, which is a 2mm round garnet bead. These are not faceted, but it would look beautiful with faceted beads. The ones in my ear, I have used 4mm round tiger's eye. Obviously, because it's me, I can't actually see the drill hole. I know that there are many different ways that you can find that drill hole. And for me, it's just trial and error. When it goes on, it goes on. So let's allow that to zip into position. Just going to push that spiral down a little bit. And then I'm going to try and set the bead inside the top of that first little arcing section. So the finer wire has started underneath that frame wire, so it's going through the bead and then over the top of the frame wire, and we want the bead to sit at the side of that wave. So pinch that in position and then wrap 7 times. That's 4, 5, 6 and 7. Scooch those wraps up and then we're going to add the next bead in. So what we're going to try and do is replicate the frequency of beads in exactly the same way as we have on the first earring. So I think that probably needs to scooch down just a little bit. So I'm just going to move that by nail, and that is now exactly where I want it to be. So let's add in my second bead. Again, the most dreaded part of any of my tutorials is me finding the hole in a teeny tiny bead. Let's get that into position, allow that to sit just like so, and again the finer wire is coming from underneath the waveform through the bead to over the top. Now before I start wrapping, I'm just going to offer that up to the other one. That looks pretty similar to me before I then wrap another 7 times. There we go. Tighten those up. If you want to do that with pliers, just support the little wrap and then gently compress from either end before you give it a very soft little squish, not squishing that bead at all, just that little section of wire. I think I've only got 6 there, so 1 more around, and then I will simply continue until I've set all of my 7 beads as close as possible to that first design. So here's my second beaded wave to go on our double wave earrings design. Now when I created the first one, I had cut my wire just a tiny bit short and I only managed 4 wraps down at the bottom just here. So I matched that on the second one, and we're going to pretend I did that on purpose. So all we're going to do now is add in a jump ring and to connect those 2 together up at the top. Now I have some really tiny jump rings here and I'm not the world's greatest with them. So I'm just going to open that out, and then I'm going to add on the beaded wave at the front, and then moving in the opposite direction, the plain wave up at the back. Once I've got them both loaded onto this ridiculously small jump ring, I'm just going to close that up, utilising 2 pairs of pliers to make sure that that lovely jump ring sits really nice and tidy together. You could of course just wire that together if you prefer. So there's the equal and opposite number to my first earring that I made earlier. When they're in the ear you do get this delicious movement, and it is very much worth adding work hardening to that. Not only will they shine more, but they will be nice and rigid in wear. So I've just got a little earring finding to add into the design, and then they'll be good to go. And I'll take a photograph of those along with the extra long ones that are in my ear at the moment. I'll pop that on the outro screen in a sec. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed that double wave earring tutorial today. Now, if you do wish to support the channel, I would be very grateful if you would like the videos, leave a comment, share them on your socials. If you would like a free way to help the channel grow, you can either hype the video or you can subscribe to the channel. Neither of those things have any costs associated. If you do wish to support the channel by becoming a member, there are various tiers, including free Gemhawks original jewellery, and ways that you can save money by discounts on my live shows. Have yourself the most wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon here on the Gemhawks Jewellery channel on YouTube. Bye for now.